They want attacking, purposeful football all the time. Now we've got our backs against the wall and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard. You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me.
A marvellous kick. That's as good as you'll ever see. And Footscray are back in front.
From inside the centre square, Boyd kicked the goal. Boyd kicked the goal from inside the centre. I can't believe that.
Hey folks, welcome to Danny Boyd. It's a podcast about the greatest football club you've ever heard of and anyone's ever heard of. That is the Footscray Football Club. They trade as Western Bulldogs. We know them as Footscray. I'm Danny McGinlay. He's Tom Boyd. We're recording remotely today because we are in deep preparation for our live show. And this will be a quick episode because we're getting ready for our live show. And if you want your maximum amount, your normal amount of Danny Boyd, you better come to the Comics Lounge on Saturday. Could be day after tomorrow. Depends when you listen to this. Could be tomorrow. Could have been last week. Thanks for listening anyway. But Tom, how are you?
Well, I think you may have just said the Footscray Flufful Club.
Probably did.
Open. And also, I'm not sure any of the listeners are going to buy the fact that we're deep in preparation and we need to do it remotely, given that preparing would probably be better in person. So, we're only half lying to you, if that makes you feel better. We are preparing. We are actually going to watch the sort of vast majority of the first two quarters, which we're going to watch, which is, Danny, the first quarter of the West Coast game.
That is correct, of the second elimination final of 2016.
And the second quarter of the Hawthorn game.
Yes.
Which is where things really actually start getting pretty spicy. I think we get to watch Tory Dixon miss about 8 shots on goal. You get to see me fight Cyril at some stage, I believe.
Excellent.
Hopefully they kept that in there because, nothing like a 6'7" guy fighting someone who's 5'10". But otherwise, mate, very, very excited. Look, our two guests, let's be honest, they're probably two of the most charismatic, interesting and entertaining members of my football career in Shane Biggs and Clay Smith. And look, Danny, I think, I've had a lot of conversations recently in my business life about footy.
Yeah.
And the one thing that really stands out, I think, from my time in the game is that it takes all sorts. I tell you what, it takes all sorts to play footy. And footy, if nothing else, teaches you an incredible ability to deal with people from all walks of life. From, the Melbourne elite private schools all the way down to, Shane, who grew up in Croydon, which is even worse than where I grew up in Ringwood, and Clay, who obviously came from the country in Bairnsdale. So, mate, absolutely pumped for Saturday. It should be a great day.
Yeah, I've got to say, if I was going to choose just two members of that 2016 Premiership side to put on a good live show. Now, just to reiterate, this isn't a live podcast. We're not going to be recording this. This is only for the people who are in the room. We're going to have a couple of beers. The filter will be off. We will tell some real stories that, if you're a Herald Sun journalist and you want to scoop, you got to buy a ticket. You got to at least earn.
You got to buy two. You got
to buy 2 tickets to get in, and then you could print. But anyone caught recording stuff will be the Comics Lounge staff will make you work in the kitchen, do dishes. So This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hear the truth. And, yeah, so I would, if we could get people like, the Bont or Tobes or McRae, who would give probably good footy analysis and play very nice and tell us nice stories. But Clay, Biggsy, we're going to get real estate. That's what I'm saying. No, realism.
And I think the key is in the very clear statement you made, which is that for a live show, you want these two. If you wanted to do an interview, if you wanted to do a TV show that was fit for the, broader public, you'd get the Bond, or you'd get, Eastern Wood, or you'd get these very interesting, smart. But that's not fun.
No,
when there's
loose units,
when there's food and beers and laughs and a reunion to trump all reunions in this day. You want guys who are going to tell you stuff that's going to make you feel good inside, and also go at different times in the show being like, "Did he just say that?" Or what do you actually think that means? Because sometimes Shane speaks in cryptic sort of analogies and metaphors that I can't understand, and I played footy with him for 5 years. So I am absolutely pumped. And look, I know it's the long weekend, which is great because you've got 2 days to recover after what's going to be an epic afternoon. But it also is the perfect possible timing for this show because we know that the season is just around the corner. I think it's like 9 days or 10 days or something since we play round one, which seems absolutely insane. And I think every time that this sort of part of the year rolls around since retirement, I go, thank God I'm not preparing to play round one.
Oh, yes.
It's just quite a daunting, it's not the game. It's the fact that there's 22 of them coming up plus one. So, look, it's going to be a great time. And, look, I would say general sentiment from the fans will be we're going to be like a top 8, top 4 team this year. Yep. After this live show, we've already won the premiership. That's where it's
Yeah. I reckon, look, we've got a lot of people coming. Thanks for buying tickets. There are still some tickets left. Get involved. I think we'll all get tattoos after this. Just all of us. It'll be a bit of a queue at the tattoo parlor, but it'll be worth it. It'll be a family.
Well, I once got told, and I'll quote the great Brett Deledio, not directly because I didn't hear him say it, but someone else told me he said it. You don't put bumper stickers on Ferraris, That was why he didn't want to get any tattoos. And, thankfully I'm not a Ferrari, so I think tattoos make a whole lot of sense.
You're a Toyota Hilux. You're unbreakable, Tom Boyd.
more like the car I actually drive, the Land Cruiser. I think I'm just sort of like a tractor that gets to where it needs to get to. Mate, what are you most excited about asking the two lads about? Is there a sort of moments in these sort of 4 quarters we're going to watch that really stand out to you?
Yeah, the things that I'm always fascinated about the pre-game or halftime rev ups. One of my favourite scenes in cinema is Al Pacino giving the inch by inch speech in Any Given Sunday. I just want to know if you and I know none of you. The annoying thing is none of you guys can remember what is said. But if
sprayed every quarter for like 26 games.
Yeah, but clearly these ones worked, and that's what I want to know. If you can remember anything that Bevo or Chris Grant or even Easton said, that's what I'm fascinated by.
Yeah, I think what I'm really intrigued is to see if my memory of these games lines up with theirs, because you always have this and again, you probably have it as a fan as well. But when you look back at things, you sort of have this recollection that things were quite smooth through that final series in the sense of that, it felt like we were confident we were going to win, all that sort of stuff. And I certainly remember, in particular, the grand final not feeling like we were ever going to lose. I was probably more nervous for the prelim, actually.
Yeah.
But I don't know if everyone else felt like that. I actually don't even know if I felt like that. I just told myself that since.
What if we watched the grand final, Boydie, and it turns out you didn't kick 3 goals, and that epic goal to win the game was actually scored by Jordan Roughhead?
That would be challenging to my current career.
What if we Mandela affected just everything? Hey,
I think the only thing that I suppose that I feel like we're going to let the fans down with is that we're not going to show them the first. The 2 first half goals that I kicked in the grand final, unfortunately. I think maybe we should just show that left foot snap just for everyone's, maybe as a pump-up speech for the whole day.
So that was your first goal comes in the start of the second quarter, is that right?
I think so, yes.
Well, I can tell you this. Here's a bit of an insight from what was happening in the stands at that moment. You kicked that goal, massive cheer. Friend of the show, Will Anderson, who was sitting behind me, leant down and said, "Our $1 million man has kicked a goal. Their $1 million man hasn't."
Well, in their $1 million man's defense, he had just destroyed his ankle.
Yeah, well, we didn't know that.
I think he stood on Easton's foot, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? Well, let's discuss it on Saturday. Other big news. I did see Will,
you didn't answer my question, by the way.
Oh, what was the question?
What do you want to hear from Shane? Is there a moment that you sort of really
what are the rev-ups? What does he remember?
You know what the other annoying thing is? I just thought about this. Clay kicks 4 first half goals in the prelim. Not we're watching the last quarter.
Yeah, well, he what do you want to see, people? Do you want to see Clay Smith's goals, or do you want to see us make our first grand final in 55 years?
I want to see Jake Stringer pass the ball. That's what I want to see.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you that I saw none of the game after Jake Stringer passed that ball because I fell to the floor of the pub I was in and wept like a baby.
Oh, well, hopefully we can recreate that this weekend.
Oh, totally can. Yeah. It'll happen. Anyway, I was going to tell you, I saw Will Anderson at Adelaide Airport just on Monday because I've been in Adelaide for the past week, performing at the Fringe, doing a play, and I've got big news for you, Tom Boyd, and our listeners. This won't surprise you that some of the cast of the play I was in are one is a very homosexual man who's not into football at all, but he's a brilliant bloke and a great actor named Alex Joy, and very camp. And at the rap party, I was having a beer, and my WhatsApp groups were still talking about the preseason game against North Melbourne. And he came over, and he's a lovely guy. And he said, "Oh, you're talking about football. Which of your players is the best looking?" And I went, "Well, you tell me." And I pulled up the 2023 team photo on my Instagram, and he perused. And who would you pick as the best looking of our current team, Tom Boyd?
Now, that's a good question.
Yeah, now.
I don't know half of them.
Because his answer was very controversial in my eyes.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's not Bailey then?
Not Bailey. No, I thought Bailey was the obvious one.
Yeah. I suppose it depends what you're into. I mean, it'd be like kind of hugging a piece of granite, hugging Bailey.
Well,
I think.
Remember, they've all got their tops on in this one, so yes, Bailey doesn't have the unfair advantage.
That's right. I honestly don't know who I'd pick.
It is, yeah. Being two heterosexual men, it's kind of hard to really choose who would be the best looking.
Like Easton in the past with his beautiful hair and all that sort of stuff is a pretty easy one.
With his boyish good looks.
That's right, yeah. And he still does look like he's 17. So,
I thought maybe...
Who did your cast member pick, mate?
Oscar Baker.
Really?
Yeah. He chose the Melbourne blow-in as the bet. He said he loved his dirty mo.
Okay.
I tried to show him Libba, who has a better mo. But,
he's looking, wow. Oscar. There you go.
Anyway, that's hey, listeners, if you're of that persuasion, even if you're not, it doesn't matter what sexual orientation you are. If you have a firm opinion on who's the best looking of our male players, let us know. Let's start. It's a discussion we have to have.
Well, I'm just, I hope Oscar's really good at footy. That's what I hope.
Did you watch any of the North Melbourne preseason game?
Just highlights. I mean, there was much to be sort of made of the big forward. Was it it's like a four of them now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a quartet.
A quartet, that's
what the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Yeah, much to be made of them. Obviously all hitting the scoreboard. It looked like, from all accounts, Jamara's fit and moving well, which is a big part of it, as I've sort of said a few times on the show. I think just the biggest challenge when you first get in a league, particularly if you're a taller player, is just the fact that if you're tired all the time, you can't do what you're really good at, which is usually jumping and marking and kicking goals and all that sort of stuff. So once you sort of build up that endurance base, things get a lot easier. And so it sounds like that's what Jamara's done, which is great. And he's like, I think we can all see the X factor that he could have.
Yeah.
It's just hard to know when that's going to become, 4 good quarters of footy all the time. It's like,
next week. It's going to happen next week, Saturday.
Every game that Naughty plays, you're like, we were better with Naughty out there. You know what I mean?
You love Naughty. Naughty's your favourite.
Oh, he's so good. He plays the hardest position on the ground. That's my opinion.
I'm going to get you an Aaron Norton badge.
Yeah, we should. I should grow my hair out again. Maybe I'll turn.
Yeah, you look good.
Get a perm. Mate, I'm fascinated by because if you're looking at players in the team who could turn us into something that we're not currently, which is say the premiership favourite. He's the guy I reckon that could do that if he gets to consistency. I think, which is the main thing. So I don't think we can make a lot of the fact that we played obviously the
biggest basket case in the AFL.
Yes.
And it was a very high-scoring game.
Yeah, I did get a couple of messages from Kangaroos supporting mates. One just saying, how did we kick 83 points and still lose by 10 goals?
Yeah.
And another one said, "What of all the preseason rules they brought in, why isn't one of them not a mercy rule?"
It is, and I think that's the thing, right? Is like with the four big guys in particular, them all hitting the scoreboard in a game where we kick like 20 goals is not as, like, I suppose, reliable as them all kicking goals in a game where we kicked 80.
Yeah,
because if everyone's hitting the scoreboard, I think and I've been sort of a beneficiary of this in my own career at times when the team's just dominating, you just pop up and you somehow manage to kick a goal or two. So I'm excited. It'll be really, really interesting to see how we go against, what Tim Watson's just placed Melbourne as the favourite for.
Great.
So,
fantastic.
Mate, it'll be a stark jump, I would say, from playing North Melbourne in pre-season to Melbourne in season. So
yeah,
we'll
who would
find
have
out.
thought?
Like,
Just travelling slightly south would raise the stakes so highly.
yes. Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up.
Anyway.
We are going to wrap up soon. We're going to wrap up now because we've got to plan a live show. If you would like more, Danny Boyd, come see us Saturday, Comics Lounge, 3:00. It's going to be epic. And for the Patreons, we'll have an episode for you next week where we'll properly preview the Melbourne game. And in the meantime, just go buy tickets.
Buy tickets. Come on, guys. We can't wait to see you on Sunday.
Gave my childhood to that roar of the red, white and blue sea, and the knowledge that you had to love the Bulldog boys and me. 20 years on, I feel that longing hanging in September air. But the reason I go every week is to pretend you're still there. And they will find the glory one day, and I will throw it at your feet. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets. Long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets.